This was a time before smartphones, when there was still adventure to be had, when you didn't know what may be around the corner, where you couldn't even imagine some of the surprises and things you might find or eat or see. We used to have to read books like Lonely Planet, and we'd go to the library or the bookstores and we'd find as much written material as we could on all these places. Now, unfortunately, everything is more homogenized. Everything looks the same. Skyscrapers, subways, Starbucks. These are the journals of Freddie Lieberman, along with his brother Maury Lieberman, or to many of the places that he sent me to. So sit back, relax, and enjoy at a time when travel was travel. December 23rd, 2002, Monday. Went to sleep late around 2 a.m. and awoke at 6 a.m. It doesn't matter if one is rested because the adventure has already begun. For the next 3 weeks, the time that is important is in making connections, planes, trains. Trang arrives early, looking cute in her Banana Republic baseball cap. The night before, she packed my one suitcase. I knew better than to touch or change anything. I would have packed less, but I trust her intuition, and I'm sure I'll be glad of the contents when I'm overseas. She follows me to Maury's, where I leave my truck, and we pick up Leslie and Maury and head for National. It is 2 days before Christmas, and the day is clear and beautiful. A slight nip in the air, and no snow. We kiss Trang farewell, and within the hour, America West is taking us to Phoenix. A long flight, but very smooth. We sit on the runway for an hour and then finally get to LA. We meet up with Betsy and Jay, and they take us to a wonderful place in Marina del Rey. I had a Kung Pao Thai seafood sausage appetizer, and as a main course, black spaghetti with calamari, lobster, shrimp, fish, and mushrooms. I love discovering dishes that I've never tasted before, and this place did not disappoint. Jay talked about his plans for moving to West Virginia. By the end of dinner, I was falling asleep, and it was only 8:30. Of course, that's 11:30 DC time. Tomorrow we take the long flight, maybe 18 hours, maybe more, but first class will make the time fly, especially when we cross the date line. December 24th, 2002, Tuesday. We leave Los Angeles at 11 a.m. and we enter the world of a 747 first class. We sit at the top compartment behind the pilots. We have lots of space and only 12 people in our cabin. Hot towels, food, reclining seats, more food, and movies. Hours and hours pass as I watch 1 hour photo, another movie called Blood Work, and I fade in and out of Barbershop, The first meal was a killer, beginning with a salad, moving to a smoked scallop and shrimp Alfredo, ending with cheese, fruit, and chocolate cheesecake. We were stuffed, and yet more snacks and meals were to follow. The day extended, and somehow the 24th melted into the 25th. 11 hours later, we land in Tokyo, Narita Airport, and evening is finally making an appearance. We soon reboard and land in Manila, 20 before midnight. As we ride through the streets, Manila is hopping. People are packed into wild painted buses. Food markets are open all night. Lots of neon, even the KFC, 7-Eleven, and McDonald's. There is enough exotic sights to know that Western influences can only make a dent in this culture. Our hotel, the Pan Pacific, is beautiful. Marble bathroom, TV in the bathroom, robes provided, and space. The decor is very modern, and from my 11th floor window, downtown Manila appears to be a dense mix of old shops, houses, and modern high-rises. We lost a day and spent about 1 hour of Christmas on the ground. December 26, 2002, Thursday. At 3 a.m. I was awake. My internal clock is a lot off. At 6 a.m. I watched strange Philippine movies, and finally, late morning, we go to breakfast on the 21st floor. It's an endless buffet of cultural delights. After a leisurely breakfast, we take a city tour. Our driver maneuvers through the traffic with ease. We go to the Spanish section first. The old walls still stand and define the city. Next, we go to the American Cemetery, where the World War II Americans are buried. It is a lovely, peaceful memorial. And when you see the hundreds of crosses marking the graves, you cannot help but be moved, knowing that these men died to make our future better. Our next stop, the City of the Living Dead, also known as the Chinese Cemetery. Acres upon acres of mausoleums. Our guide took us through the streets and alleys of a cemetery that looks like a deserted city. From the cemetery, we took a ride through the crowded streets of Chinatown. Lots of jewelry shops and noodle houses. Manila is a multi-layered city. Traffic is constant. There are thousands of jeepneys. These are the independently owned silver steel buses, painted in weird combinations of color and design. They clog the streets, packed with people, vying space with the cabs and tricycles. These are the motorcycles with an enclosed two-person sidecar. Our driver waits for us as we eat at the authentic Philippine restaurant. The food is strange to us. We safely stick to a sauté and ribs. Later we walk the miles through the Robinson Mega Mall. There was a store called Guns for the Good Guys. Wow. Can you imagine going to your neighborhood mall and buying a couple of submachine guns because you are a good guy? The food stalls at the mall were endless. And the prices, they were unbelievable. Much of the food was 50 cents to $1 to $1.50. And $1.50 was on the high end. December 27th, 2002, Friday. This morning we are picked up by Yunnan Lingap Kapwa Phils Incorporated. They are affiliated with Children's International. Maury and Leslie sponsor a little girl, and we have been sending money monthly for her well-being. Today we will meet Rodalita. Faith, our guide and social worker, is soft-spoken and excited to meet us and show us the little girl who is the recipient of Maury and Leslie's support. The traffic is thick as we make our way to Quezon City. When we first meet Rodalita, she puts her forehead to our right hand. She is a beautiful, spirited child. We all sit together in the office as Lei, the director, explains their program and tells us about Rodalita's life living with her godmother, who is also there. Rodalita has a sister, a father who takes drugs, and her mother had died some time ago from cancer. What moves us is the love, the care, and the belief these social workers have in their mission. These are people who believe that they can make their world a better place, and from where we sit, they are doing it. We take our entourage, Faith, the driver, godmother, a nurse, and Rodalita, to the mall. She had never been to a Kenny Rogers roaster, and so we have chicken and anything Rodalita wants. The size of these malls astound me. The prices for things are amazingly low if you are used to what we pay for things back home. Today is Christmas for Rodalita, and she can get whatever she wants. It is a joy watching her go from department to department, knowing exactly what she wants at the end of the spree. Maury and Leslie have purchased for Rodalita some hip jeans, a striped shirt, a cool Barbie, tennis shoes, and a doll kit. We then go deeper into the neighborhoods to see where Rodalita lives. She lives in a 2-room shack with her godmother. The corrugated tin roof radiates heat, and we sit on a cement bench, taking in the ambience. About 30 of the neighborhood kids surround Rodalita, and she shows off her treasure. There is a festive atmosphere as more and more people crowd in. Rodalita puts on her shoes, her shirt, jeans, and then with a friend they perform a dance. Her rhythm is natural and her choreography is first class. The neighborhood is poor, and when you see all these cute kids, you hope they find a better future. I know I am going to sponsor a child, and I do. We then walk up the street to meet Rodalita's father. It's like a parade of children. We are the event. Everyone has come out to watch us. I take lots of pictures, and we shake hands with the father. It is very strange, but we go with the flow. And I do a few magic tricks for the kids, and they go crazy. I promise everyone I'll send them pictures, and soon we leave. On our way back to our hotel, we pass the people who live along the railroad tracks. This is as poor as you can get. Squatters with no sanitation, just a small shed for cover. So many people come from the provinces to the city, hoping to find jobs and greener pastures. I don't think this city can support more people, but the lure will keep them coming. We were all pretty tired when we got back, so I decided to treat myself to a foot massage at the Bulgogi House, 1 block away. I told my Korean masseuse that I liked it hard, and she really made me feel pain. First, you sit in a chair, and they bring you Korean tea. Then she massages each leg, and then each foot. Soon, the head, the neck, the shoulders, arms, and hands, all the while sitting in an easy chair. At times it felt good, and at other times painfully good. After about an hour, I was done. The cost was 400 pesos, or $8 American. I had to tip my masseuse $4.50 because she worked so hard, and I can't imagine they pay her if they are only charging $8. Afterwards, I meet up with Maury and Leslie for dinner. We go to a Chinese tea house, and most of the food was the stuff Trang would love. I ordered lobster ball, noodle soup, and some dim sum, that food that I could recognize. Food here is cheap, and we filled up on food that cost us about $3 each. After dinner, Maury and Leslie go back to the room. I check out the casino. I put $10 in a slot machine and immediately won $200. I take my winnings and leave. I knock on Maury's door, brag a little, and I donate the winnings to the trip fund. A perfect end to a very long day. December 29th, 2002, Sunday. Fort Santiago. Went to the old Spanish fort to walk in the footsteps of Rizal, who died by firing squad December 30th. He was the Philippine national hero. Late afternoon, we go back to the malls and check out Greenbelt. The stores dazzle the eye, and the prices continually blow us away. Food is cheap, and the choices are endless, and we sit on a balcony at a Middle Eastern restaurant. The food is wonderful, and as we finish, the mall begins a laser light show followed by fireworks. I don't feel like I'm on the other side of the world, more like a trendy place in California. December 30th, 2003, Monday. We took an hour-and-a-half flight to Hong Kong. The new airport is huge, efficient, and big, really big. As our cab takes us to downtown Hong Kong, evening is beginning. The overcast obscures the dramatic density of the island and the layers of mountains packed together. It is a visual feast, mountains and high-rises, each at least 30 or more stories. We pass the Kowloon district, then enter a tunnel and come out in Hong Kong. "30-story buildings are the norm. The scale is overwhelming. So much everything. People, traffic, structures, signage, a cornucopia for the senses." After checking into the Wesley, we leave our rooms on the 17th floor and head to Aberdeen for dinner. It's across the water, and we see the Jumbo Seafood restaurant, beautifully lit with ornate dragons, and its size becomes overwhelming as the ferry brings us to the floating palace. The place seats about 4,000 people, and I'm glad it's a slow night as we climb to the third-floor dining room. The meal is a multi-course feast of seafood, beginning with an egg drop soup filled with crab, to broccoli and scallops, to steamed garoupa and stuffed crab claws, finishing with a sticky rice and leaves. Expensive meal, and the final tally was enough to pay for a week of dinners in Manila. But it was worth it. Back in Wan Chai, I walk the street. and find lots of bars and strip clubs. I have one beer for $7, and one of the Thai strippers asked me to buy her a drink. I'm embarrassed to say that I bought her a $21 cup of Sprite. When the matron asked me to buy her another drink, I left as quickly as I could. All down the street, each club wanted me to come in and have a look. Have one drink. I learned my lesson quickly and walked very quickly back to the hotel, stopping at 7-Eleven along the way to try some foreign candy. December 31st, 2002, New Year's Eve. Kowloon. Thousands of people. We walked the streets of Kowloon after taking the Star Ferry and mingled with the throngs of people. Midnight found us in a spaghetti house eating pizza, reminiscing on all the strange places we had been on at New Year's Eve. Swaziland, Madeira, Ascension. The skyline of Hong Kong across the water from Kowloon is breathtaking. Earlier in the day, I walked one of the malls. The electronics were cutting edge, and I saw so many toys. I spent most of my time in the music store buying Japanese VCDs at $3 each. You can really collect movies, and I found really weird films that hadn't made it to the States yet. We purchased our Octopus Pass, and this little card allows us to ride the subway, the ferry, the bus, and trams. And that's how we spent the afternoon, sitting on the second level, getting a view of Hong Kong street life. In one section of the city, there was row after row of dried fish shops. Every kind of fish, even seahorses. This is a walking city, and every street has its wonders. And to really take it in, all you have to do is to do it at a walker's pace. And you'll see everything from gold shops to frogs. January 1st, 2003, Wednesday. I walk our neighborhood early. 2 blocks away is a street fruit and vegetable market. So many green vegetables, an eggplant, garlic, and plants I don't even recognize. I buy a bunch of miniature bananas and an orange, even though there are more exotic fruits like the mangosteen from Thailand. I then stop at 7-Eleven for a paper, and then I check out some merchants on the street before heading back to the Wesley to meet Maury and Leslie for breakfast. A quick ride on the subway takes us to Mung Kuk area. We walk the streets and soon come to the goldfish market. Blocks of fish stores, each more elaborate than the last. Every kind of koi, goldfish, and other fish. Colors, sizes, aquariums on both sides of the street. There are thousands of live fish, and it would take hours to see it all. We walk on, and soon we are in the flower market. Shops and shops of bulbs, plants, and flowers. And we walk on, and finally enter the bird garden. Here there are old men with cages, walking their birds. There are also stalls and stalls of vendors selling parakeets, cockatoos, parrots, lovebirds, and varieties I've never seen, plus crickets and lovely porcelain feeders. Hopefully I have captured the feeling of the park in my photographs. Most of the time the weather has been gray, overcast, and dark. Not very good light to capture the magic of Hong Kong. Later on, we take a tram to Kennedy Town and eat at a chain called Steak Expert. As much as I like Chinese food, steak and spaghetti hits the spot. Back at the hotel, we crash for an hour. And we stagger out into the night to catch a late show of Harry Potter. When you purchase your ticket, you also pick your seats. The big screen was excellent, with a great sound system. By 12:30 a.m., the film was over, and I was more than ready to call it a night. January 2nd, 2003, Thursday. While Maury finalized our trip to Shanghai, I took Leslie to the furniture street, 1/2 block from our hotel. She bought some boxes for gifts. I had been there earlier doing the same. We catch a bus up to the peak, a double-decker bus winding its way up the mountain on a narrow road. It is breathtaking. I sat in the front, watching Hong Kong's tallest buildings get smaller and smaller. The harbor could be seen, and many cemeteries are built into the side of the mountain. For the past 5 days, we have had overcast, and at the top of the mountain, the view was pretty dismal. But the mall next to the peak had so many interesting things that I clicked into the shopping mode and bought. We took the tram down the mountain. It is a cable car that takes you down the mountain like how the crow flies, and in 15 minutes you are at the bottom. Later that evening, Maury takes us out for Mongolian barbecue. Fabulous choices, and twice as many sauces to choose from than the places in D.C. January 3rd, 2003, Friday. I got up early and went online with my caramel latte at the corner coffee shop. From there, I decided to ride the subway into Kowloon with the working people. We were packed in shoulder to shoulder like sardines. I walked a few blocks from the Tsim Shat Sui shop. I love walking the streets, looking at the hundreds of neon signs suspended over them. Shops are beginning to open, and noodle shops are boiling their mysterious creations. As I head back to the hotel, it begins to sprinkle. And then 20 minutes later, the sun makes its first appearance since we've been here, and the sky is blue. We hop a cab to take us back up to the peak. The views of Hong Kong are magnificent, and except for a little pollution haze, you can see for miles. From the peak, a bus winds us down into the city. Oh, the turns, the twists, and I get a little sick feeling, and I am glad to be off the bus. Before I'm totally stable, we hop another bus to the Stanley Market. I stayed on the lower level. This madman of a bus driver whipped us up the mountain, slamming on his brakes, jerk starts, careening around curves. I kept my eyes closed, missing some of the most beautiful scenery of the island. I peeked, but quickly closed my eyes again, willing myself to not be sick. An English kid 2 seats to my left loses his cookies, and I can relate. Finally, we get to the Stanley Market, and when I catch my breath, I am in shopper's heaven. So many good deals. I buy a silk robe for Trang, and Maury buys us all $12 jackets for Shanghai. Time flies, and we bus to the Victoria Park and pick up tennis tickets for tonight's game. Then we go to a travel agency and firm up our trip to Shanghai. Then it's back to Victoria Park and we take our seats on the equivalent of the 50-yard line. We are about 7 rows back from the court. It's getting colder. Celis makes quick work against the 15-year-old blonde Russian, Maria Sharapova. Yet we can see the potential. And here is one tennis legend playing a future tennis legend. There is a 30-minute break between this match and the next doubles match. We watch the Blue Girl beer sellers. It's too cold to buy, but they are cheerful in their yellow and blue miniskirts and boots. After doubles, there is one more match, and I'm getting a little chill, and I was happy to see the last point. Afterwards, we went to a kebab house for a very late dinner. January 4th, 2003. Same routine, caramel latte, check email. Then I hop a tram to the Western Market. Then I walk the 23 blocks back to the hotel, snapping abstracts of Hong Kong, taking in the sights. By 10:30, Maury and Leslie are ready to go. We walk a ways, then after some coffee at Hardee's, we hop a tram and go forever till the end of the line at Shah We Khan. Amazing markets, fish of every kind jumping out of their pens, live crabs, meat being butchered, whole pigs being carried along, and vegetables. Lots and lots of vegetables. And so many green vegetables, many I've never seen. I would love to see Trang's face. I'm sure some of these markets are like the ones in Vietnam. For lunch, we go to a Chinese seafood restaurant and have dim sum. I study each steamed dish that come around on the rolling carts, assessing if I can eat it. The octopus or the squid was a little tough. We were the only Caucasians in this place, and it was a good lunch. And the dessert of mango pudding was perfect. Later, after picking up our laundry, we walked to the Star Ferry, and we watched evening set over Kowloon. As if we haven't seen enough malls, we walk into the newest mall in Kowloon called, well, I couldn't figure out the name, but it was upscale, trendy, and goes for blocks. As usual, this place is beyond big. There were about 700 stores in this complex. Overwhelmed, we took to the streets. Night had fallen, and neon buzzed everywhere. We stop in at a camera store, and Leslie is corralled by the salesman. He is extremely nice, and for the next hour we learn about many digital cameras. When it is all said and done, Leslie buys a 3.2 megapixel camera. There will be a small learning curve, but I am excited about teaching her the joys of digital photography. We walk the streets with the throngs, and soon we get to a Jewish deli and have a great dinner of matzo ball soup and corned beef sandwiches. An early evening ferry back, and then a cab gets us home by 10 p.m. We all pack for our trip to Shanghai tonight. We have an early call tomorrow. January 5th, 2003, Sunday. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. and I am out of the hotel by 6:15 as we reach the train station. We are awed by its beauty, its size, and its efficiency. The train is a futuristic marvel with space, comfort, monitors in every seat, and a lighted map showing your progress all the way to the airport. 22 minutes later, we arrive. An hour and a half later, we land in Shanghai. The place we are staying is in the old section of the city, Hotel Asia. It is where the Chinese people stay, and we are the only Westerners. English is a little scarce here. After check-in, we discover a neighborhood cappuccino bar. The Chinese owners were art students in Italy and now have become entrepreneurial in running an Italian cafe in the new China. Later, we go to the train station. We wanted to find the maglev train. What we found was thousands of people pushing, shoving, in line, packed shoulder to shoulder. We retreated to the department store across the street. Inside, Leslie is taken away for a facial. I study the watches and find a $16 Chinese watch from the Shanghai Zhengxing Watch Company. It's strange and unusual, and I love it. Later on, I walk a few blocks into the neighborhood. It seems the malls are endless and one could shop till they drop. I bought a couple of CDs, then meet Maury and Leslie for Chinese dinner in the hotel. We make it an early evening because at 8 a.m. tomorrow, we go on a city tour. January 6th, 2003, Monday. It's cold, about 25 to 28 degrees. The jackets bought in Stanley Market have come in quite handy. We meet our tour group at the Ritz-Carlton. The place is like a palace, and we have our first Starbucks in this very upscale complex. Our first stop is a Buddhist temple. Ancient jade statues, beautiful carvings of goddesses of mercy, laughing Buddhas, gods of harmony, gods of wind, many more. All about 15 feet, making the phrase looking up at the gods a reality. Next, we go to the Bund Tunnel. And walking along the river, it is much too cold to fully enjoy the cityscape of modern Shanghai. Next, we are given a taste of Old Town. It's a new shopping complex built in the old Chinese style architecture. In the middle of the Yew Gardens, an ancient complex of ponds, rock gardens, and houses. It is a gray-looking place in the winter, but one can imagine in the spring a place of infinite beauty and meditation. We all warm up for lunch at a Chinese restaurant. The Lazy Susan is piled with dish after dish, and we spin the top, taking small portions until we are full. Back on the bus, we stop at a silk factory. We're shown the different stages of the silkworm, then actual silk production. Before that, we were taken to the Folk Museum and watched artisans do some pretty esoteric crafts. Silk painting with the silk threads was the most amazing. Creating pictures with the threads one stitch at a time, mixing the threads, with a final silk picture looking like a painting. These pieces, depending on complexity, can take 6 months, a year, or longer. Back at the silk factory store, Leslie buys. I buy. Maury laughs. Next is the Chinese Museum. It is the last day of their heritage show, and the line of people stretch around the block. We will get to see everything but that exhibit. The museum is beautifully designed with modern architecture, accented with Chinese motifs. There are rooms devoted to histories of their jade, Their coins, seals, calligraphy, furniture, painting, porcelain, and European ceramics. I saw most of it in 1 hour. On the bus, we meet an Australian-Chinese couple, a Philippine family, and an Indian couple who we are meeting for dinner at an Indian restaurant tomorrow night. Later on, we head out into the night and pass amazing lighted streets and more shopping districts. This isn't your daddy's red China. Our driver can't find the Brazilian restaurant Maury wants to go to. So we ask and no one can quite figure it out. Our fallback is Latina, a Charisco place we saw earlier. As we walk in, Brazilian music is playing, and later a live band continues the mood. This place delivers, and skewers of meat are brought to the table until we say no more. January 7th, 2003, Tuesday. I found the miniature building for Scott. He is a friend who collects miniatures, and in Old Chinatown Market, I found a small pearl building. There must be 500 or more shops that have surrounded the Yew Garden. After our Starbucks breakfast, we split up to explore for an hour. So this first shop I go to is 3 floors of endless curios. In the basement is stall after stall of antiques and antiquities. I look at every old watch and marvel at the old Buddhas. There's an old Russian camera. I meet an old man, born in Shanghai, and he has never seen anywhere else. His English is good, and he even knows Spanish and a smattering of German and French. He learned at the missionary school. I show him one trick, and soon I have a crowd around me, wanting to see my dice trick over and over. An hour passes like 5 minutes, and I hook up with Maury and Leslie, and we go to the Bund Tunnel. A much warmer day and beautiful sun. As we walk along the river, we are constantly asked to buy Rolexes or Omegas for $10 for 2. The ride under the river is in a 5-person bubble car. As we slowly move through the tunnel, ethereal music plays. A cheesy narrative about magma, stars, heaven, and hell. Psychedelic light flashes, neon ripples in the undulating colors, strobe lights flash, and then we are on the other side. Above ground, the Pearl TV building dominates the landscape and looks like a futuristic spaceship. An amazing structure that takes our breath away as we look at the 360 degree of Shanghai at the 260 degree meter mark. Now we see Shanghai as a massive city, continually expanding and growing. On the next level, we have lunch in the revolving restaurant. Slowly the views change, and within an hour, you have come full circle. Finally, we go to the top, 350 meters. I can't even imagine being part of a work crew this high. The guys cleaning the window at the 260 meter height on the outside made my knees weak. The construction crew, when building this place, had to deal with some high winds, and I can only imagine everyone was tethered as they put the crown on at the top. We have to check out one of the largest malls in Asia, so we go across the street, and we are so jaded, we are not impressed. The mall is too new. So many of the spaces are still unoccupied. Leslie and Maury test a massage chair. Looks of ecstasy on their faces as stress melts away. I try it, and the Japanese are very clever. This chair feels like an actual person is giving you a massage. In the basement of the mall, we find the largest supermarket we have ever seen. There were dim sum counters, fish counters, meat counters, and if you can imagine any type of food or part of the animal, it was there. Live frogs, live turtles, endless dry things. A quick rest at the hotel, then we meet up with Chandra and her partner at the Tandoori restaurant. Visually and architecturally, the place is a masterpiece. The whole history of the Buddha's travel is in the ceiling. The place is mirrored so you can see infinity, meaning you will never totally know all. We learn about Chandra's marble business, how his marriage was an arranged one. He and his wife are smart, warm, and lovely people. He treats us to dinner, and we hope we can return the favor when they visit the States. It was a nice, long, 3-hour dinner, and I got to talk with someone about Hindi movies. We return after midnight. It was a very full day. January 8th, 2003. It's a Wednesday. After a late start, we try to find the Jewish ghetto. A cab drops us into an old Shanghai neighborhood. This is the Shanghai Leslie remembers. Few tall buildings, few cars, lots of bicycles. Everything the color of gray. People keep pointing straight, and we finally wander into a park where we see the monument marking the ghetto for the stateless people. The park is pleasant, and all around old people are enjoying the sun. As we try to figure out where the old temple was, an old Chinese man shuffles up to us and guides us 2 blocks to the temple. Here we meet Mr. Wang, born in 1919. His English is good, and for the next 2 hours, he gives us an oral history of the Jews of Shanghai. At 84 years old, this man has lived the history, and he is a fountain of information, remembering names and dates. Later, we walk the streets as he points out the past. Only a few storefronts reveal their past with the faded signs of long ago. Only the nail holes remain on the houses where their mezuzahs hung. A cab whips us back to the Bund as we check out the Peace Hotel. The jazz bar here is world-renowned, and without reservations, it is impossible to get in. We have our final dinner in Shanghai at the Diamond Restaurant overlooking the river. Seeing a very Chinese menu, I stick to the lighter choices: eggplant, tofu, hot and sour soup. We get to the airport hours early, and soon we are back in Hong Kong. The train is a marvel, and by 12:30 a.m., we are back at the Wesley. January 9th, 2003, Thursday. I spend the day running all over Hong Kong. I begin in Kowloon, and I swear I will not buy anything again. I spent way too much. And those salesmen, once you enter their store, will not let you leave until you've made a purchase. Let's talk about lack of willpower. I just looked over at some sunglasses. Next thing I know, I'm inside, and they are saying I can have any sunglasses I like. Prescriptions in 2 hours. I ended up with a space-age pair of sunglasses. I leave for 2 hours. Why did I go into the music store? Because you can listen to everything. And I spent $50 on VCDs and CDs that would cost $200 in the States. But the biggest purchase, and this puts me over the top, is a portable DVD player. To justify it, I just try to make up some excuse. But I'm just kidding myself. I'm done shopping. My mantra is look, and that's it. I ride the tram and I walk the city. Endless shops, endless watches, endless markets, endless anything and everything. Later that evening, Maury takes us to dinner up the hill downtown. It is a trendy area populated with Westerners, bars, and restaurants. Cabs clog the narrow downhill street, horns are blasting, and music is rocking out of each establishment. The place looks like a slightly upscale Adams Morgan. Very few Chinese. We eat at Al's Diner. Music videos are blasting the room with sound. Westerners crowd the place down in Jello vodka shots. We all order the huge hamburgers. What a treat. Could not believe we were in China. January 10th, 2003, Friday. We catch the morning turbojet boat to Macau, and we glide over the water, and the ride is extremely smooth. I drift off to sleep and the hour passes instantly. We leave the boat and a driver negotiates to give us a city tour. We drive into the rich man's neighborhood and go to the top of one of the hills. This is the first church in Macau. 400 years old. Soon we drive into the city. A ride over original cobblestone streets. We visit a Jesuit church. It burned down some time ago, but the front facade has been preserved. It is a beautiful spot, looking down the steps into the town. The original church took 25 years to build. The next place we saw has a 400-year-old Buddhist temple. The peaceful quality is wonderful. As we enter each temple, ashes from the hanging coils of incense falls on our shoulders and gives the air a foggy atmosphere. Some of the coils burn for a month. Then we go for lunch at Henri's Galley. He's been there for 25 years, and he greets us when we walk in, and he tells us he has the best food. We start with a local soup. Then we have sangria and grilled Portuguese sausage. Then we have a stuffed crab. Henri, or Henry. He constantly frittered around the place, greeting new customers, taking orders, and hovering about, asking how each dish was. Near the end of the ferry tunnel was a casino where we had watched the Chinese games. Many were played with colored dice, and everyone bets on the various outcomes. Then there were variations of R21, but without the knowledge, it would be foolish to play. It is much better to know why you're losing your money. The turbojet back was as smooth as silk, and the hour to Hong Kong flies by. Later on, we have dinner at the Pacific Place Asian food court. As you order, you are given a card that records your purchase. And when you're done eating, the card is taken to the cashier and she tallies up the meal. January 11th, 2003, Saturday. We are on our back to America. The trip is winding down. At 10, the airport bus picks us up at the hotel, and we get a final tour of the city. The narrow streets, steel and glass rising to the sky, the views continue to fascinate. We pass the port, one of the busiest in the world. Thousands and thousands of containers are piled everywhere, and the cranes to move them number in the hundreds. We land in 90-degree weather in Manila, and the smiles and the warmth of the people make us feel like we are back home. We are upgraded at the Trader Hotel, and the room is wonderful. First-class amenities, an 18th floor view, a king-size bed, a couch, and a room for 20 to party. Saturday night, the Two Towers movie has opened. So we head to the luxurious Greenbelt Mall theaters. Every show was sold out except midnight. So we head back to the hotel and have dinner at a Japanese restaurant. As we enter, they ring the bells and welcome us. After ordering sake, our glass, not sake cups, are filled to overflowing, and they stop pouring when the saucer below fills up also. After much tempura, lots of fruit, and empty sake glasses, we stagger upstairs and happily crash. January 12th, 2003, Sunday. Last day in Manila. I just got back from the hotel spa. For $12, I enter the locker room and undress. I'm given a towel and then head for the showers. Then onto the sauna. After sweating a while, I shower again and get a Japanese oil massage. I feel like a king. Then I showered once more and took a jacuzzi. Earlier, Maury and I took one last mall trip and pigged out in the Asian food court. We found more bargains and finally head back to the hotel. That's when I go for a massage. Leslie had the works done while Maury and I had been out. They head back out to the mall to see if Leslie wants to buy any luggage. Later, when they return, luggage in hand, we have an early dinner in the hotel because wake up is at 5 a.m. January 13th, 2003, Monday. Long day. Just beat morning traffic to Manila Airport. The flight to Tokyo was very smooth. 2 hours later, we are winging our way to Seattle. I watch one film and force myself to sleep. We gain a day. We left Manila about 7 a.m. on a Monday, and we arrive in Seattle at 8 a.m. on a Monday. Our flight was late, and we had to jump hurdles to make the connection to LA. If we hadn't been in first class, which allowed us to be first in line at immigration, we would have missed our flight. We got to the gate with 5 minutes to spare. After a 3-hour wait, we board an American West to Vegas. I think we finally stopped flying around 3:30 p.m. We check into the Tropicana, and I walk forever to get to my room. Spacious, big bathroom, mirrors on the ceiling. Too bad I'm here only one night. Maury and Leslie rest for a dinner engagement. I catch a cab to the Riviera Hotel. One of the biggest magic conventions of the year started yesterday, and it goes for 3 more days. I walk around the dealer's room meeting all my friends from Maryland. Larry Davidson, Ken Norris, Puck, Bob Kohler, Denny, and a few people who knew me, but we hadn't met yet. I'm getting pretty tired, so I walk the 3 miles back to the Tropicana. The lights of Vegas are beyond description. I walk past the Flamingo, pirates fighting the British at Treasure Island. The volcano at the Mirage explodes, shooting water and fire 50 feet into the air. It's quiet along the canals at the Venetian. The gondolas are floating peacefully, waiting for the weekend throngs. As I continue walking, I'm in Paris, and the Eiffel Tower is breathtaking in the evening light. As I cross the intersection, I see the Arc de Triomphe. Once I pass New York, and see the castle spires of the Excalibur, I know I'm back at the Tropicana. I have a quick dinner at the hotel restaurant and head back to the room. On the way, I run into Maury and Leslie. We go straight to the Folies Bergère show, whom their friend got tickets for us. Our seats are perfect, and at 10:10 the show starts. Maury, Leslie, and I are all zombie-like as our eyelids hang heavy, and the musical extravaganza begins. Lots of glitzy costumes, feathers, and dancing topless women. Not even Las Vegas showgirls can keep us awake. At the half point, a juggler named Fast Wally comes out, and he is so funny and energetic, we are awake. He is the pill we needed to make it through the rest of the show, which ends at 11:30. Maury and Leslie head to bed. I decide to gamble on the nickel slots. I came to Vegas with $200, and now I'm down $105. I put $5 into the machine, and in an hour I have 2,500 nickels. I need to go to bed, and so I quit while I'm ahead. I came to Vegas with $200. I now leave with $274. Finally, at 1:30 a.m., I make it to bed. January 14th, 2003, Tuesday. Our first flight was Vegas to Phoenix. After changing planes, we are on our last plane to National Airport. A 4-hour flight that should put us in at 7 p.m. What an adventure! Now it's time to get back to work and plan for new travels. Thank you for listening.